Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take another look at here at Solana, see what's going on. This coin is looking pretty strong still. We're honoring a ascending trend line, but it looks like there is potential to be breaking this trend line at least soon. There's a possibility of that. We also have this little area of liquidation here, this purple area. If you're ever not familiar with like what purple implies on my charts, it really just kind of tells us that there is a liquidation event in that area or a certain amount of liquidation in that area, typically higher concentration. So with Solana, this is an area of liquidation as low as about $170. Okay, so that's roughly what we're looking at. We're halfway down there. Our short is still in play and good profit so far now that we've averaged in about 178. I'm probably going to adjust our take profit targets a little bit just because we have a lot of support, this 168 to 170 range. And there's a chance if Bitcoin does continue higher, we'll see the price action pivot off that level or bounce and miss that entry or that take profit target. Anyways, conversation for another day. Quick congrats to our community members for some nice profits on our Bitcoin short from, what was it, 73,000 to 71,450. Okay, so 20% there. And also congrats, I have to bring this to your attention because got so many people watching my videos that come from over from our SUI community. We took 10% profit on a scalp in 3 hours for a short there. So I actually like to celebrate that because the simple fact that I do not like shorting Solana, but I'm glad that my day trading bots are comfortable with that. So taking a look here at Solana here, let's double check a few things. Let's double check, first of all, the liquidation levels and backend data. The left-hand side is the last 7 days. So we can kind of see there is a small pocket still left of liquidation. Anywhere between now and 170, there's that purple area that I have on my chart. Kind of just giving an indication that there's maybe $1, $2, $3 billion in liquidation, maybe as a rough estimate. We zoom out, we can see a slightly larger profile here. This is the last 1 month essentially. And this kind of tells us each one of these bars is worth about 1 billion. So yeah, between 170, there's probably closer to 3 to 4 billion between now and 170. So just understand that that's present. It doesn't mean the price is going to just shoot down to that level, but does imply that we have more propensity, more potential for that if we lose our ascending trend, which is being tested right now. So again, just something to kind of think about. We close in the low 170s today, or currently maybe more so mid 170s. We'll probably see that continuation lower. Okay, anyways, the whole point of this here is I want to take a quick look at the delta. It's starting to taper off. This gives me some confidence in the fact that Solana may actually be able to sustain this price action, mainly because when the delta comes down, it's less incentive for the whales to want to destroy those longs, or the inverse, people are actually taking profit on their long positions. What do you know? It's really cool to see that. So in order to have sustainability and for a coin to do well, this needs to be, it needs to have ebbs and flows that are natural. If it gets too high for too long, that's when problems occur. Like this, for example, 1 billion in liquidation delta. It was maintained that range for a 24-hour period. Makes sense why the price is pulling back. Open interest for the last 24 hours is right there at about $171. So that kind of reaffirms that support at 170. Okay, so what does that mean for us here? Let's take a look at the charts and kind of discuss what the potential ramifications are for that. Okay, so quickly to note, and it's kind of hard to see on this daily time frame because the text moves around as you adjust your time frames, but we do have a macro resistance at 185. So it's a pretty strong resistance level. We couldn't pass that level with like 8 attempts in the past. So if we do end up retesting that level here soon, I think we're going to see an instant rejection. It's just kind of a strong resistance level for us. When we take a look at the moving averages, we're above every single moving average. The daily time frame, keep in mind, folks, is going to be super strong right now. While we have officially broken down below 70 on the RSI, we only spent maybe half a day up there. We're tapering off. The RSI is coming down with the price. This is very natural and good. It's healthy. Same thing with the money flow index pulling back. It's super high, stayed too high for too long, just like with Bitcoin, and it has to pull back. Profits have to be taken at some point. You cannot be greedy 3 days in a row, have 72 hours worth of continuation with no retrace. That's why Bitcoin pulled back pretty hard once it hit that mid 73K range. Anyways, that's reflected here as well in Solana. It's running fairly concurrent with Bitcoin in a lot of ways. We'll look at the comparison here on the hourly chart or smaller time frames, but at this point, the daily time frame is still bullish, so try not to misinterpret the overall analysis here. Thing you do want to recognize though, in the 4 hour time frame is the good time frame to kind of pick up on like little cracks in the glass, or more so just like potential problematic scenarios here. I'll update our fibs here a little bit later. I'm going to remove that for the moment. if you're not familiar, I post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. It looks a little something like this, and it kind of gives you perspective on where we're at with the coins, okay? So future reference, that's there. I'll update our fib levels and put that here. But what I want to get at here is that this ascending trend line is running concurrent with the 50-day SMA. Generally, the ascending trends or descending trends, they're going to run parallel or concurrent with the 50 or the 20-day SMA, either to the upside or the downside. The 50-day SMA is holding so far so good, like a champ. It did really well back here in late October. That was like, what, the 25th? And here again, we're seeing it getting tested. Now, you got to keep in mind, these are not support levels, okay? They're simply ranges or identifications of what side of the tracks you're on. And with us being above the 50, we're still in decent shape. However, we're starting to see that shift in momentum where the price action being below the 20 is generally unfavorable. Okay, last time we were under the 20, and while it recovered almost instantly, it pulled back pretty significant. So we're starting to see a very similar scenario here. We got that pullback. Is the 50 going to hold, though? That's the question. So losing the 20 to me isn't great. It's kind of like this, it's an eye-opener where we can no longer just be blindly bullish and just be kind of idiots about taking long positions with no regard. Okay, we've been able to do that for the last 72 hours. Now it's kind of that realistic, okay, the Bitcoin's finally pulling back. But what do we do? How do these altcoins adjust? Well, the truth is Solana's down 3% when Bitcoin's down 1%, so we can adjust for that and understand that a 1% movement from Bitcoin generally implies we're going to see a 2 to 3% correction from Solana. That also reaffirms the fact that it's overextended, and that, in combination with being below 50 on the RSI, stochastic swinging down, money flow index trailing with it, MACD diverging, there's a lot more reasons here why the price is more likely to go down than up, at least to the 170 level. So me personally, I'm probably going to consider adjusting my take profit targets for Solana to that 170, 171 range, just to be safe, and then obviously leave it open for some additional take profit down below if it continues to run. Again, I like to average in and out of my positions. That's just me personally. Majority of professional traders will do that, just because, you know, keeping some skin in the game can be very beneficial in some cases. And we take a look here, speaking of skin in the game, we can see 165, 166, that is a major point of control for us. And if I'm not mistaken, my original entry for Solana my original take profit target is 167. So that speaks to that. Generally, I like to put a take profit target above a point of control to ensure that we secure profits if the price bounces off that support range, okay? So that's kind of where we're at. Let's quickly look at the Ichimoku cloud, confirm we've lost. Wow, this is actually not looking good at all. We are below the cloud. Unlike Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still maintaining above its cloud, but it moved up so hard for so long that it makes sense. However, we're starting to see a lagging span for the Bitcoin intersect and the conversion lines below the baseline. All three of those things are present here, and including that, we're also below the cloud too. So this kind of reaffirms the resistance level if the price were to recover for Solana at 178, and we can see that significant shift in momentum now. Keep in mind, occasions can occur where the price breaks below the cloud like we saw previously, and it can ramp right back up above it, okay? So if Solana comes up to this 178 to 180 range and rejects, that's a solid consideration for a short. Right now, it may be a little late for a short, but also a good consideration, just based on the simple fact that we see that shift in momentum, more liquidation on the downside. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would bet Solana's going to go down here soon. And it should go with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a pretty significant fair value gap, as low as 71,300. And while there is a ton of liquidation on the upside, there is so much selling pressure right now for Bitcoin that it's having difficulty recovering. But again, it's not enough to warrant a short position with Bitcoin at this exact time, right? So as we can see, liquidation delta is way too high. And that leads me to believe that we're going to see some more selling pressure because there's still a lot of greedy longs in Bitcoin right now. Okay. Again, I know this is a Solana analysis, and you're probably scratching your head, why the hell is this guy talking about Bitcoin? But if you haven't already figured it out, folks, Bitcoin calls the shots. And understanding its correlation with said altcoin is extremely important. And at this point, we look at this, we look at the charts, Solana's pulling back a lot harder than Bitcoin is. So that leads me to believe further downside is expected here. All right, folks, that's what I got. Hope that makes sense. Quick little heads up, too. While we do have a deposit bonus for Bitunix this month, they're rolling out with a nice little campaign next month with volume rewards. It's a small trading competition, so be sure to check that out. If you've used my link to register, you automatically be eligible for that. There's no registration required. So make sure you obviously use my link here now. No KYC or VPN. They're an awesome exchange. I think you're going to love them. All right. Thanks again, folks. Look forward to seeing the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.